Today we're going to be talking all about not all about whatnot, but we're going to be talking a little bit about whatnot. What is up, my beautiful friends? TJ here with another episode. Today I want to talk a little bit about whatnot. Now, this is not going to be like a comprehensive step-by-step. This is how you sign into whatnot. We're not doing that today. Today, I just want to kind of talk through my experience in the past 2 years with whatnot. Let you know some of the things that are good, some of the things that are not so great, and maybe you can make a decision as to whether it's going to be a platform you want to use to resell your items or to sell your used or new or thrifted or crafted items on whatnot. So the first thing, what is whatnot? Whatnot is a fairly new reselling platform. I think it's been out, I don't know exactly how long, maybe 4 or 5 years or so. I'm pretty late to the game because I didn't start whatnot until about 2 years ago. But it is a online selling platform where you can do auctions, you can do live auctions. You can also just list items to sell on there. The platform is really built for doing auctions. So if you are a person that don't want to get on camera, you don't want to make, get on here and do stuff and talk and show your face, it may not be the app for you because you do have to have a pretty strong presence on camera. Like you need to be on camera. You don't necessarily have to be on camera, but most streams have their faces on camera. Also, whatnot, they do have a lot of hype behind whatnot. So you'll see like some celebrities on there doing live streams. So there's a lot of hype around whatnot, and there's a lot of hype around buying the items on whatnot, which could be a positive or a negative depending on who you are and what you're trying to sell. These are a couple things that I think that you should consider if you are thinking about becoming a whatnot seller or even a whatnot user, either one. So the first thing you need to think about is the quantity of items that you have for sale. So just in my opinion, I don't think whatnot is really for people that are super part-time where you may only have 10 to 15 items to sell. It's going to be a lot more difficult for you to build a following on whatnot, and you really need a following on whatnot to be successful. So if you have 10, 15 items to sell, you may be able to sell through those items pretty quickly. So if you're not on there doing shows quite a bit and you don't have like a constant flow of inventory, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to pick up a following on whatnot. And whatnot is very heavy on following. It's it is a selling app, but it's very much a social media app. Like you need to be on there streaming at least a couple times a week. At minimum like one time a week, because they do have an algorithm, and if you're not streaming on a regular basis, then your streams are not going to be promoted to a lot of people. So if you don't have a lot of items and if you don't have a constant flow of inventory, and that don't mean that you got to be getting in big old pallets or you got to be ordering in a bunch of merchandise. I'm just saying if you're not actively going out and getting items to sell specifically on the platform, it may not necessarily be the platform for you. Now, the way that we did whatnot is I would buy pallets and we would sell stuff on the whatnot app. Now, I don't get a lot of pallets in like I used to get in, so I was supplementing that with going to bin stores, and I was literally having to go to bin stores pretty much every single week. I was going on Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday to pick up items to sell on whatnot. And I was trying to get the items. I would have to go get the items every single week to sell. And I may get 50 or 100 items to try to sell on whatnot. So in that aspect, is not as easy as eBay, because eBay, you can get 10, 15, 20 items, and then you don't necessarily have to list them all in the same day. You can list those items, throughout the week, and it still will keep your account kind of active, and then you'll probably still get some love, some views your way, and possibly some sales. But on whatnot, you really have to be on there doing shows. I even noticed when I took a lapse of even like 1 month, my streams just did not go out to as many people as it was when I was doing 2 or 3 streams per week. All right, so the next thing for you to consider is the starting prices of your item. So I'm going to be making a video about some specifics on some items that I sold on whatnot versus eBay. I will give you one specific example that I have right now, and that's going to be the band tees that I purchased a little while ago. So those band tees, we sold tons of them on whatnot. Probably at least 200 band tees, maybe even more than 200 band tees on whatnot. So I think it was kind of successful based on how much I paid for those shirts. So I paid 65 cents for those shirts, and we were selling those shirts for, on average, around $5 per shirt. Now you may be thinking, oh my God, $5 for a shirt? You can't even get a shirt at Walmart for $5. But we were selling them at $5, and we were selling a lot of them, and very quickly. Like I would do a show, and we may have 75 shirts that I have to package up the next day. So you really have to think about what you want to sell your items for and how much it's going to take for you to be profitable with those items. So when we sold the band tees on Whatnot, we was getting like I said, an average of $5 per shirt. Now, when I sell the same shirts on eBay, I'm getting about $30 for those shirts. But on eBay, I've probably only sold 25 shirts on eBay. Now, you may look at it like, okay, well, 25 shirts at $25 versus 200 shirts at $5. So you may be thinking like the effort of me shipping 200 shirts versus shipping 25 shirts is going to be a lot different. And those are the decisions that you have to make, because you may sell a huge quantity of items, but you really have to look at the profitability of what those items actually went for. So if you're buying items for $8 and you're selling them for $6 on Whatnot, you may have a successful show. You may sell out, but you have lost money effectively on each one of those items. Maybe you bought it for $10 and you're selling it for $15 on Whatnot. You're profiting $5, really not $5 because there are fees associated with that, but you will be taking a little bit less than what you make on that. You really just have to really crunch the numbers and not fall into the hype of selling things. So you'll see a lot of sellers, especially larger sellers that are selling on the platform, and they're doing $1 start. So they're starting their items at $1. If you're a new seller, you cannot start your items at $1. I mean, if you have like really great items and you have a lot of them and you got them for a really great price, maybe you can start them for $1. But if you are a new seller, more than likely, the first couple shows, you're going to get that punch, that new like Whatnot seller punch. But after you do a couple shows, you're going to get into like a normal stream, you're going to have a normal audience. And if you list the item for $1, more than likely it's going to go for $1. And if you can't afford to sell your items for $1, you probably don't want to be listing them for $1, or you don't want to be starting them for $1. So you really got to think about the profitability of each item that you're going to sell, the effort it's going to take for you to package that item, to ship it, and do all those different things. And you want to make sure that you're profitable. But to do that, you are going to have to think about what's the bare minimum I want to make for this item, and that's what you start your items off at, is that bare minimum. All right, so earlier I said that Whatnot is a social media app, and so you very much do have to be very consistent. So that doesn't mean you have to be on there every day. Some people are on there every day. Some people are on there multiple times per day, but you do at least have to have a touch point with the app at least a couple times a week, whether that's you doing shows or you being on the app in people's shows, commenting. It's very much a social app. So you do have to kind of be social while you're on the app. Now, I'm not saying that everybody on the app that is successful are people that's in other people's shows, but if you are a newer seller and you don't have like a large following outside of Whatnot, or if you don't have a large following somewhere, you can't bring those buyers into Whatnot, it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult for you if you're not in other people's shows, purchasing items, commenting. I have a lot of friends that are on Whatnot. Some of the people that I know that I'm friends with, they have really large followings on Whatnot, and they invite us to things that they put on that brings their audience to my shows. So I get a lot of boost from doing those shows. But if you're not making those friendships and you're not making those contacts, then you're probably not going to be invited to those things, and you're not going to be gaining the audience that you think you're going to gain. I hope that makes sense. It made sense in my head when I said it, but then when I thought about it, it doesn't really kind of make sense. All you need to know is that you do have to have a social media presence. So if you don't like social media, you don't like being in the chat room, you don't like being on camera, it may not be the app for you. All right, so lastly, I want to talk about your expectations of the app. So this is what I tell all new resellers, all the new people that's coming into reselling, whether you're going to be on eBay, you're going to be on Whatnot, you're going to be on Poshmark, you're going to be on Amazon, whatever it is. Make sure that you have your expectations in check, because a lot of people start on the app and they look at these people that have 10, 20,000 followers on Whatnot, or even 2,000, 3,000 followers on Whatnot, and they think, oh, well, if that person can do it, I can do it. You can do it, but you're going to have to put in a lot of work to get there, unless you just strike luck and you just get a whole bunch of followers. Or if you have really great product. Those are like the two things that could happen where you can get like a huge following. But most of the time, you're going to have to grind to kind of get there and get to a point to where, you're sustaining your audience. You're growing your audience every time you do a show. So just make sure you you have the expectations in your mind that's grounded, and you're not thinking that you're going to be a huge whatnot seller and not have to put in like a bunch of work. A lot of people just kind of start, they do a couple shows. The first show is great. The second show is okay. The third show, they get 2 people in their show and then they're upset. They're like, what's going on? You have to be consistent, and you have to be social. You have to get on there. You have to talk to people. You have to do shows. Sometimes you're going to do shows by yourself. I've done multiple shows literally where it was myself and the camera in the chat. And I put on shows sometimes for an hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, where I'm in there literally by myself. And sometimes it's going to be like that. You know, there's people that are on Whatnot, they have thousands of followers, and they're in the chat, they're in their shows literally by themselves, especially if you drop off and you don't continue to do shows. Now, I don't want to sound like a Whatnot hater. I love the platform. Like I said, I'll be back on Whatnot very soon. But I just want to let people have a realistic expectation of what Whatnot is. And, you know, a lot of times you kind of fall into the hype of, okay, it's a new platform. I see a lot of people making all this money. They're showing screenshots of all these packages and stuff. You don't know what their situation is. You don't know how much they paid for those items. You don't know how much they made for those items. You don't know how much they profited on those items. So you can't take somebody else's success or a picture of success and then think that you're going to replicate that immediately on the platform. It's going to take a lot of work, just like anything else. It's going to take a bunch of work, and you're going to have to work at it and get better at it. Now, if you do want to join Whatnot, I do have a link in the description below if you want to join the platform. And hopefully I'll be back on Whatnot in the next couple of weeks. I do want to get some new inventory in. I've got some inventory that I can put on Whatnot right now, but I really want to wait until I get like this new shipment of inventory in. Then I can get that organized and then get back on the platform. And that way I can have some shows successfully in quick succession. So I can have multiple shows in a row versus just have one show and then have to wait 2 or 3 weeks to make a show. So that is going to be it for today, guys. If you like these types of videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Also hit the bell icon so you get notifications whenever I release new videos. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.